Thank you so much, Chairman Dix, Ranking Member Simpson, and members of the subcommittee. This is such a great thrill for me as an artist to be here on this great day, and to be here on a political level is a very new thing for me, and something that I'm proud to say so many past artists have done, and I'm proud to be in front of the fun group finally today, and hopefully many artists will follow in the future and continue this on. I'm here today along with my fellow witnesses to talk about how the arts have not only enriched my life and provided me a living, but how the decisions made here in rooms like this to fund the National Endowment for the Arts have a direct impact on the lives of those who wish to not only pursue their passions, but to contribute as public members of their communities. I also believe the arts are a refuge and not merely an escape from the troubles of the day, and can provide hope during these traumatic economic times, and I hope my story reinforces that belief. I owe my livelihood to the arts and to music, not only because I've been able to sing and write for a living, but because there is a market for those who appreciate my work and choose to buy my recordings and come to my concerts. The arts are a truly interactive experience that creates a portal that connects those who want to do and those who want to enjoy, to mutual benefit of both. Arts Advocacy Day is a perfect opportunity for me to share my story about how the power of artistic expression and the forces that enable me to do what I love can be the story for so many others. First and foremost, when I refer to forces, I'm including the love and commitment of my parents, who are here today. Appreciation of the arts was just something that was very normal in our household. My mother was a high school art teacher in a Los Angeles City school. My dad plays a mean trumpet and played jazz trumpet all through college.
Wynton's taking notice.
Not to create a tense atmosphere in the room here. But, so I didn't grow up in an environment where creative expression was pushed upon me. It was something that I very much discovered on my own. It was a fundamental building block that enriched my development. There is no doubt that I had an advantage in that regard. Being surrounded by a nurturing family who viewed the arts as necessary for making a well-rounded individual. But my parents they were never stage parents. There was never any sense of feeling that there had to be that push. Like many artists, it felt like a gravitational pull. You have to have the bug. I said it earlier today, but growing up in a city like Los Angeles, the choices that they made to introduce me to all that a big city like that had to offer were life-changing for me. I would sit in the audience. I would get chills at a classical concert or a musical theater or Blue Man Group or whatever it was. And I would say to myself, if I could ever make somebody feel the way I'm feeling right now, that is my goal in life. And I had blinders on from that moment on. It's one thing to discover that's what you want in your life. It's quite another thing to find your direction in a school environment. So one of the main reasons I'm here is to talk about the incredible educational system that I had with the arts programs and as a product of that system. While my first high school was a fine academic institution, there were not many opportunities for creative outlets. This inspired me to create my own theater club during a free period. It beat, sitting around and eating corn dogs for an hour. And it drove me to realize that I needed a school system that gave me more of a creative outlet and let me have my theatrical fix. I found the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. And it is an incredible school. It specializes in training of music, theater, dance, visual arts, and film. It was the place that I realized was a home for me, for my voice, and for my soul. It's one of 2 public arts high schools in Los Angeles that allows students from any district within Los Angeles to attend. My acceptance finally deployed me onto familiar terrain. Artists, musicians, actors, and more than a few other outsiders who now had a community to explore their talents and start imagining a way to translate their gifts into productive careers. For many of the students from troubled or disadvantaged homes, it was a life-changing experience that I saw personally, to be placed in an environment where the arts provided such hope and positive growth. In my opinion, their lives were saved by the arts and by that school. During my high school years, I had the opportunity to experience the far-reaching influence of the federal agency that my fellow witnesses and I are here to support. I also attended the highly regarded Interlochen Arts Camp in northern Michigan, which is a phenomenal place that is also much funded by the NEA. It's in northern Michigan. It's very rustic. You're on the water. And again, surrounded by many, many students that share your passion. There's music everywhere. I shared a cabin with a flautist who's now in the Boston Symphony and a number of different actors who are now doing great things. And it really changed my outlook on the possibilities in the arts. What is sometimes lost in any discussion of the arts, and in particular arts education, is that those lessons learned through whatever medium one chooses to pursue are more likely to teach you more about the world around you and how it works. Learning piano isn't just about being able to produce notes in a melodic and harmonic structure that becomes Moonlight Sonata. It is about the personal discipline that is hours of practice. Trust me on this one. There's no better place than a theatrical production to test the characteristics of humility, work ethic, patience, the value of teamwork, and a commitment to a common goal. We have only our current financial situation to turn to for an examination of what happens when those values are not learned. Armed with the tools to pursue my dream and chosen profession, this is where things got a bit lucky, but I've always viewed luck as preparation meets opportunity. I met a wonderful man named David Foster, who's a great producer, and he kind of plucked me out of obscurity. I found my first situation performing for then Governor-elect Gray Davis in Sacramento. I found myself going from living room, family, and friends to wearing a really ill-fitting tuxedo for 25,000 people in a full orchestra. So, and I was terrified. 2 weeks later, he called me back and he said, I'm at the Grammys. I'm with Celine Dion. We've written a song. The great Andrea Bocelli can't show up. We need you to show up. I was 17 years old. I'm going to fax you the lyrics. Can you please be here at 3 o'clock? I said no I said no with a pit in my stomach. I said no, and I hung up the phone. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to put myself in this embarrassing situation. I'm not old enough to be doing this. I can't sing like that. I had a number of insecurities. He then called me back and he said, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Get your butt over here. I need you here, you know. I said, that's politely, believe me. And being thrown into the fire like that taught me so many lessons. And the reason I bring up that story is because it was the teachers that pushed me into those fires when I was younger that gave me the strength to be able to get up there and do it later on in life. And it pains me to think of how many thousands or millions of kids have the energy, have the talent, have the smarts, have the path that they don't yet know is in front of them, and don't ever have that push. So I owe a lot to those teachers who gave me that strength. My career has also given me a great opportunity to give back and meet some incredible people. The opportunity to sing for President Obama, to perform at the Vatican, to meet and befriend Nelson Mandela are not only incredible and humbling honors, but prime examples of how the arts are a universal language that connects us each to each other's humanity. Like, as I mentioned, the philanthropic efforts, I have the Josh Groban Foundation, which helps children in need through education, healthcare, and the arts. And it's also galvanized my fans, to whom I owe another huge debt of gratitude, to raising money, benefiting a number of institutions dear to my heart, including NOAA, which stands for Nurturing Orphans of AIDS for Humanity in South Africa, and also the South Central Scholars Fund in Los Angeles. The arts, in my opinion, just continues to keep on giving, as everybody has mentioned today. So when asked why do this, the answer is simply, it feels like my duty. The arts have crafted me into the person I am today. With so many of my colleagues being affected by the economic downturn, it is more important than ever that those of us who are still able to make a living inform others that creative expression means real jobs. As performances close down, the ripple effect is not only felt by the lead performer or the cast, but also the orchestra members in the pit, to the incredible stage hands who are artists in their own right, and the restaurants across the street who rely heavily on audience flow every night. That is why I wanted to share my story with you today. It's a great honor to be here in our nation's capital and make a case for why the arts are so vital to our communities and our bottom line. I applaud the already extraordinary efforts that this committee has made in providing funding for the NEA in the stimulus bill and the incremental increases in the fiscal year budgets for the last 2 years. So thank you so much for that. But there's so much more that's needed to ensure that my story is a possibility for millions. But more importantly, that we continue to fund the arts so that we maintain our cultural soul. And I will reiterate what everybody has said. I highly recommend that anybody who has not seen it take a look at Mr. Marsalis' speech last night for a much more eloquent way of capturing our history and that soul. So I join my colleagues here in respectfully requesting, again, the $200 million, and I thank you all so much for this opportunity to testify for you today.